What's up, everybody? Man, good to see you all. Let me get some things going right here. New technology is a lot harder to work with when it's not working with you and you're learning all this. So thank you for being patient with us. I know we said 7:30, and yeah, if you know me, I'm always running late, so it is what it is. Get this blunt going. I thought today we'd talk about a couple things that people were asking questions about. One of them is how Natural Healing Care Center got started. The other one's going to be about the cannabis industry and how I've seen it change in the last 12 years. I've been in it for 12 years in Arizona, so I've seen a lot of the changes and the good and the bad. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I thought you'd talk about a little bit about why cannabis is illegal and why it stays illegal. I think that's important for people to know. So get some water. We'll dive right into it. So my name is David Yrigoyen, Natural Healing Care Center, shopcleanhemp.com, and Nana's Rub. Nana's Rub is our in-house topical we make. It has all organic, all natural ingredients, guaranteed relief, great for inflammation, sciatica pain, arthritis. So if anyone's having any problems that they're not getting any relief from with other products, give ours a try. We got a full money back guarantee, so it can't hurt you. I also want to give out a shout out to Alien Labs. That's what we're smoking right here. Picked it up from Prime Leaf dispensary down in Tucson on Speedway and Park. I like to show love over there. I think the owners are pretty cool people, so yeah, I like to get my weed from people that I trust. Halo, I-10 in Wilmot, and Prime Leaf, two of my favorites. So back in 2011, I was working with this group, ended up parting ways in 2012. The place dismantled. There's a lot going on in the industry. It's a lot of, it's an emergence industry. It was like the Wild West back then, and a lot of instability and still uncertainty and unfamiliarity with law enforcement. So it was a risky industry, and I was working with a group, and they were the pioneers in Arizona, getting things going. I learned a lot from them, and while working with them, I had the opportunity to meet some patients coming in that were having a plethora of problems, weren't really getting any relief from the turn the radio down, please. Weren't getting any really relief from some of the medications they were taking, so they thought they'd give cannabis a try. Came into the office, and one of the ladies that I first met, she was a post-stroke patient, and I had worked at UMC in the cardiology department, so I had seen people that, and bear with me, we got multiple cameras going, stuff is all new for me, but I had worked with people with cardiovascular issues before, seen how they digressed over time, especially in my own family. My grandpa had a stroke, and I saw how he never really bounced back from it. So I knew strokes were one of those things that were just really hard to recover from. You really had to put in the work and have the right tools. And this lady came in, she tried cannabis out. Within a couple weeks, she was out of her wheelchair, walking in a walker. Shortly after that, she was walking on her own. The paralysis on her left side went away. She came in just to thank us all for helping her and showing her the plant. Gave us all a big hug, and I had a jolt of sensation run through me and felt enamored before, unlike anything in my whole life. And I was like, wow, this is what I should be doing, helping people. Like, I made money before dealing poker, working in the cannabis industry, gaming industry. Money came easily, and I was working with a lot of money, so that never really got my jollies going. But man, helping people and feeling how I don't know how grateful they are when you can actually bring them some sort of relief or, you know, service. That right there really made me happy and let me know that I was in the wrong part of it. I was in retail at first, and that's when I'm like, I want to get in the medical end of it. And the place closed down. Thought about opening up a couple other things like a boutique, a smoke shop. I had put a down deposit on the place actually to open a smoke shop and a boutique, a little clothing boutique. Went down to LA, spent a couple grand in clothing and in glass. Came down to Tucson, was gonna flip it. It just wasn't fulfilling. You know, I was going through some hard times and trying to find out what I wanted to do. And that's when someone asked me, you know, what do you really want to do? And I said, I want to help people again. I want to get back in the clinical setting. I really enjoyed that. So we found the location, had a team with me, had my brother working with me, my younger brother at the time, a couple other people. My middle brother Daniel came on and helped massage. He was our massage therapist at first. I had been seeing a doctor for naturopathic medicine that I met at the original clinic I was working at, Dr. Jasmine May, and she gave us an opportunity to come be a part of the team, and the rest has kind of been history. You know, we started going. Everything just started flowing. The name Natural Healing Care Center, just came up with that on a smoke session. The logo, my buddy Christian Merrick, who's a tattoo artist, he helped me put it together on Photoshop. We have the lotus plant at the base, which is giving birth to the earth. It's blooming, giving birth to the earth. And then right through the earth, we have the caduceus, which is the medical symbol. And in between the caduceus, we have the chakra symbols. So, you know, I know it's Sanskrit. I know it's not really my heritage, but it's something I honor and respect and have felt a great deal of connection to. And I feel like it's a part of natural healing, so we promote it. And it's been our identity ever since. So ever since natural healing has been going, we've had the chakras in our logo. You know, man, that's a whole nother smoke sesh. I'll tell you about my experience with the chakras and all of that. But yeah, Dr. May, she came and was our first doctor. And we started calling people, just cold calling. I come to the office and we had a list of people that were suspected renewals, and just anyone we could find. I go around leaving flyers, cards at locations, anything I could do, trying to network with people. And you gotta remember, this was new, a whole new industry. People didn't even like talking about it. Man, I went to smoke shops, I won't say any names, but I went to smoke shops that wouldn't even let us put our content in there because they were still shy about it. And I get it. You know, they had a lot more eyes on them than I had, so they didn't want to take any risk, where now we understand, you know, we do have rights and we don't have to be afraid of saying certain things or having adult conversations and, you know, all that other stuff. So we went and just did some guerrilla marketing, joined up with some groups that let us split the fees at booths for events. So we were able to have a booth at places that normally would cost us hundreds or thousands of dollars. We split it with some companies, and you know, we go over there and be able to get our message out. We wouldn't sell anything. We had certain guidelines we'd stand by just so we didn't get in the way of their stuff. But you know, we'd be out there and just hustle, man. So that's how we got going. I knew we were going to be the first point of contact for a lot of patients because I had already seen it previously at that other place. So I wanted to make sure I was well informed. I took it upon myself to learn as much about cannabis as I could. So I was giving accurate information to people, and they weren't being led astray to places where they would be put in compromising positions. So I made sure to not only educate myself, but offer a complimentary consultation to every single person that came through our door. So if you came in for your medical marijuana card, I gave you a free consultation. You know, it didn't matter who you were, if you wanted it. You know, well, actually, if you wanted it, you could deny it, but you know, it was offered. That was all it was. And it was good because there was a lot of people that needed the information. They thought that you could just smoke marijuana. They didn't know you could eat it, dose it properly, take it in different ways, apply it topically, take tinctures. They didn't know any of that stuff. And I dealt with hippies that came in saying that they've been smoking longer than I've been alive, and no, their white hairs know more about cannabis than I could ever know, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, then why are you still on all this medication? I'm seeing your pharmacy list right here, and you're on this medication still, so obviously you're still having some issues and not finding full relief with it. And that's when I show them how to use, incorporate another method of consumption, and they start to find more relief from it. So that's because I took it upon myself to learn about that, and I was finding ways through my own experience. I wanted to be able to use cannabis throughout the day at the office and still function. I own a business. I couldn't be zooted all day and zonked out. I had to actually be able to function, get things done. So that's when I found ways to work with THCA, started teaching classes on how to infuse. I did that for quite a while. We'll get back into that here soon. I just took a break during COVID and during my dad's passing to kind of regroup and reset. But now things are coming back together, like these videos and stuff. I'm telling you guys, this is completely out of my comfort zone, for me. So for me to do this and show up and be consistent with it, I'm really proud of myself, because not a lot of people are confident enough to put themselves out there like this, even though they have a message from the creator and a higher source. And I feel like I have that message, and I need to get that through when it comes to nature and plant medicine. I've been shown different ways from my experiences that can actually help people, so I just want to convey that message. But not only did I see that lady experience relief early on with the stroke, which led us to natural healing, I also had seizure patients come in. That was the biggest eye-opener right there. Now, I know we've all seen the videos of the people benefiting from seizures. I don't know if you've seen the ones with the little kids actually putting oil on their feet and getting relief right away instantly. So it's not even eating it or smoking it, inhaling it. You can actually apply it to your feet and get relief. But those people are real, and that stuff is real. People really do get relief from CBD and cannabis for seizures. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen people come in with multiple sclerosis, get relief. Parkinson's disease, I talked about that last week. But a lot of neurodegenerative diseases and spasmodic diseases really benefit from cannabis. And I've seen it with my own eyes, man. I've seen people that are wheelchair bound that can smoke cannabis, high amounts of it, and have more motor skills than they do without it, and actually get relief. So there's something about it when it comes to the seizures. We've seen patients get off of some really nasty medication for seizures with cannabis. One patient was on medication that not only affected their internal system, but externally it retained a lot of water and put on weight. So I know there's some pretty gnarly medications out there that are really questionable, and I know people are hesitant to try cannabis for certain things, but it is a lot safer than what they have out there, and I've seen it with my own eyes. That's why now neurologists are starting to send a lot of patients to us and to other places to get their cards. So I know that it really does affect the nervous system. We do have CB1 receptors in our central nervous system, so there are receptors in our brain, in our neurons, in our nervous system that actually bind to the cannabis, like I talked about last week. If you're not all familiar, it's your first time tuning in or listening to me, I'll talk about this all the time, but we have an endocannabinoid system. So that's my biggest argument right there. When people are like, well, it's not for me. Well, actually it is for you, because it's in your DNA. So if it wasn't for you, it would be an insect. It wouldn't be in your DNA. So it may not be THC, it may not be smoking it, but you can definitely benefit from it, man. Hemp oil, hemp seeds, hemp leaf. Hemp leaf is really good, non-intoxicating. You can make teas out of that. So there's ways to use multiple methods that are non-intoxicating, non-psychotropic, non-psychoactive, so you can actually get some relief without having to go through any undesired experience. And that's been one of the bonuses of the program, is having access to multiple products and a variety of treatments. Now, before, I know it was focused mainly on flower and edibles and other markets, especially when California and Colorado were emerging. But I think states and the government wanted to see it go that direction, so it became more novelty, and they can show that it was more for abuse and recreational than medicine. And the patients don't go for that stuff, man. We ask for more, we require more. We know this is our medicine. We're using it to not have to take any of that other stuff. We use it because it does help us. So I think because of that, more places started getting put on demand to carry certain things. And that's where Arizona already had that leg up. Once the dispensaries did start opening, they saw an opportunity for that, and they did carry a variety of products for medical patients, which I respect. The only thing I think that happened with the medical system in Arizona early on is the quality just shifted right away. So, you know, that's the only thing I could think of is, or that I know from a personal standpoint, quality shifted pretty bad. But it was fueled by the black market before that, so I can't say if everything was from Arizona before that, but I did know that quality was different, and I know that if it was from another state, as more states started to change their jurisdictions and regulations, it started to open up more of a market for people to the highest bidder. So Arizona had a nice little couple years where we were seeing some really good quality, but honestly, after about 10 years, it's starting to come back. The last year and a half, and with this Alien Labs right now, I'm really impressed with it. Canamo, really impressed with. G4 and Tucson Cannabis campus, really impressed with them. You know, I pretty much get all my stuff from the Tucson Cannabis campus because I seen it being grown with my own eyes. I trust it. I know the people there are intentional growers and good growers, so you know, that's really good stuff right there. But some of these other places, man, they were pushing out swaggy ass fucking snickle frits, like the worst of the worst, and they got away with it, and they could charge top dollar for it because there was no competition. Anyone try to open up something that was remotely competitive in a gray area, they'd shut them down. So the only other competition was each other, and they weren't able to really have any consistency until now. So it has been changing though, like I said, it has been changing a lot. Quality's been changing, everything's been going good, so I'm really happy with that. At least I'd like to see some more sun-grown come out of Arizona. We definitely have the opportunity for sun-grown. We have the space, the sun, just need the water, but sun-grown right there is really good stuff. You know, it's like to see some of these dispensaries work together more and actually help some of the certification centers work all together. I have no problem with other certification centers in Tucson at all. I always wish them the best. I really never saw it as competition as long as we're all helping people. I know right now we are we're all in it together. So, you know, I keep that in mind, but you know, I send love to them. We haven't gotten into any kind of bidding wars or anything, which is good because I think every one of us in the certification end is pretty fair when it comes to the dispensary and the pricing of the flower. You know, I'm really grateful for all that. I'm seeing the price come down as a consumer. I'm really happy with that. So I know that they're working harder to do that, and that's just inevitable. It is an herb. It should be affordable to people. So, you know, I'm really pushing for better numbers, but I know right now they still have to produce it, and they're really fair. So, anyone charging $10 to $15 a gram, I still think it's pretty fair. I know it seems kind of high, but considering the taxes and everything they're having to pay right now, and I know that there's dispensaries that run specials, so if you want to pay bulk and go buy an ounce for $100 to $150, that's an opportunity too. So I like that as well. It's just having those options, and before we didn't have that, it was kind of monopolized, and we were paying, like I said, top dollar for stuff that we shouldn't have been paying top dollar for, and that's why people were still going to their old provider. And I'll be honest myself too, at the first 9 years I didn't buy from any dispensary unless it was me just going to check stuff out to just see what they had and maybe try some edibles, but flower wasn't really up to par. But now the last couple years it's getting there, and I really think that that's good for Arizona, because they should be growing their own stuff, which a lot of them are now, and not being dependent on the other systems, where it be caregivers or whatever. So it's good to see that happening, because man, early on, like I said, that quality was booky. So they got it dialed in now. They found some good growers. That's another thing, they were taking advantage of growers early on. Some of these dispensaries were really doing growers really bad, keeping their equipment, running them out, having them set up stuff, and then bringing someone else in just because they didn't want to pay them. There's some really nasty stuff going on. So it's good to see that the growers are actually being taken care of now, and dispensaries see their value, because they are the creators of the plant. They are the ones tending to it and caring for it. And most growers that I've met, they're not greedy people at all. They just want to grow a bunch of weed and be compensated for it fairly. They don't care about having their name on everything and being the richest person in the world. They just want to grow a bunch of weed. Like, that's all they want to do, man. If you see how these growers live, and the soil everywhere, and the compost, and these people are the most humble, hardworking people, and the dispensaries took advantage of them early on. So it's good to see actually some good relationships being made, some retribution being done. So I'm really happy for all that. And a couple last things I want to touch up on while this blunt's finishing up is why cannabis was illegal in the first place. And I know you guys see some of the propaganda that's gone on. I show some of it on my social media pages for the hypocrisy. So I just want you to know that cannabis is politically illegal. It's not because it's ever hurt anyone. The reason why it's Schedule 1 is for different reasons. It's not because it was dangerous or ever hurt anyone. It was because it was politically and financially influenced by corporations that benefited from it. And back in before it was prohibited, years before, because it was prohibited in the 40s, 1940s, late 40s, but in 1865 we had the 13th Amendment ratified, and the 13th Amendment states that slavery or involuntary servitude is not allowed in the U.S. or within the grounds of the U.S. except, that word except, which should never be around the word slavery or involuntary servitude. You should never have the word except anywhere around. But that word except, they said, except if you've been duly convicted of a crime. So people that are convicted of crimes thrown into the legal system are forfeitative of their rights and their amendment rights. So they get thrown into slavery and involuntary servitude. Well, there's prisons that are banking off of people making not fucking license plates. They're not making license plates like they showed in the movies back in the day. They're making lingerie, ballistic vests. I had a homie do some years up in Texas making ballistic vests for the military. They're farming tilapia up in Colorado. They're fighting fires in California. They're making lingerie in the middle parts of the country. They're packaging packages for Target. All this stuff is going on in the industrial prison complex, and corporations are making money by saving money on labor. So you got free to inexpensive labor where they're making $1 to $10 a day. And I know people say, oh, they're criminals. Well, a lot of them are in there for nonviolent crimes. A lot of them are in there for selling a plant that everyone right now is selling legally, that you got people making millions of dollars off of right now and billions of dollars off of around the whole world and country. So don't tell me that they're criminals when all they did was pioneer and promote this early on, knowing that this plant helped people. Not one person's ever died from it. The only death caused from this plant is from the prohibition of the plant. So if there was better regulation and availability, we wouldn't have had any death early on. So that's the only death caused by this. But the 13th Amendment right there is one of the biggest reasons why this plant is illegal. Now, you got textiles, you got prison and cheap labor, you throw in pharmaceuticals. Wow, well, it looks like it's a big fight right there this little plant is taking on. So that right there is the biggest reason why cannabis is illegal. It's starting to open up people's eyes. They're starting to see the hypocrisy behind it all. They're starting to notice that it should have never been illegal in the first place. So, I think that with more time, we'll start to, maybe we can start to forgive each other and move past all this. But in the meantime, we're still having to show people that this plant is safe. Luckily, more people are starting to see it help their relatives or friends benefit from it, so they're less likely to be so against it. But definitely gonna see some times where people are going to start accepting it more. But yeah, man, it was good vibing out with all of you tonight. Do another one next week. We'll have Dr. Johnson on, possibly. I know she's still nervous too, but Dr. Johnson has a lot of information. My first experience with a naturopathic doctor, Dr. May, I went in for acupuncture because my back was totally fucked up. I had a sciatica flare up, my hips were out, I couldn't walk, take a piss, breathe, I couldn't do anything. Well, I went to see Dr. May, and I was so unhealthy internally. I thought I was good, but I was eating processed foods, drinking Monsters and soda, no good water, no juices, like fruit juices. I'm not talking, or green juices. I'm not talking about like, the box juices and concentrated shit at the store. I'm talking about actual like green, vital juices, beet juice, orange juice, freshly squeezed, none of that stuff. But Dr. May took my pulse and told me that I was too weak to do many points. So she only put 4 points in me at the time. That's all my body could take, my system, I guess. And that's why me being stubborn went home and said, okay, I want more points next time. It actually helped. I thought I was gonna look like Hellraiser. I thought I was gonna have pins all in my face and my my whole body. But I just had 4 little points, and I was like, I gotta do better. This doctor called me out. I didn't really know her too well at the time, so she was just honest with me, and I ended up going and making some changes, and little by little was able to get more points, started to be able to get more treatment done, different types of treatment. My body could handle it. I was bouncing back quicker, started to feel better, all those little lifestyle changes. And that was all right before natural healing. So I shared some pictures when I was still weighing like 275 again, right before natural healing, and I put on some weight, man. I've always put on weight, so I've lost 100 pounds twice in my life. The these last 6 months, I just lost another 50 pounds. So, during COVID, I got a little relaxed, and I was vegan for 7 years, and just during the last year of it, all these places started opening up with this fucking soy bullshit. So they have all these fucking soy nuggets and soy burgers and soy this and soy that, and I'm like, man, I'm not eating any real food, and I was just putting on weight. I gotta get back to basics, man. So I'll do a little bit of gardening here and there, some dairy here and there, but at the end of the day, I eat mostly plants and vegetables, berries. I like berries a lot, so I know everything in balance, and that's why I got my herb too. But yeah, it was good vibing out with you all. I'll put this out, and I'll see you guys next week. So